My beloved child, it is I again, the one who saw you before you ever learned to say my name. Every tear you've shed, every silent sigh you've buried deep within, none of it has escaped my loving gaze. You may have felt I was distant, but I have never left your side. I have been there in the silence, in the long nights without a way out, even in the moments when you doubted the very faith you once held as a treasure. Today, I sit down to write to you, not with ink and paper, but with my eternal love, engraved upon your spirit. My words are not merely meant to be read with the eyes, but to be felt with the soul, for there are things that only the heart can truly understand, beyond what words can express. And today, I want to speak to you about a new beginning, a dawn that is breaking after a long and weary night. You may be wondering, why now? Why me? I hear the cries of your heart, the questions you repeat over and over, seemingly without answer. But today, I come to tell you, everything I do is in perfect timing. And you, yes, you are living in the very moment I ordained before the foundations of the world. I see you, not the version others perceive from the outside. I see the real you, the one who prays, even when hope seems lost. The one who clings to faith when everything around screams to let go. You are tired, not because you are weak, but because you have fought long and hard in silence. But I have come to tell you, your battle has not been in vain. The seeds you thought had died are quietly taking root beneath the soil. What you sowed in tears will bloom in joy. My beloved, it is time for you to see me move, not just in the grand miracles of Scripture, but in your everyday life through your work, your family, and the dreams you thought had fallen asleep. I have not come merely to repair what is broken, but to create something entirely new. I do not simply heal a shattered heart, I forge a stronger one, steadfast, vibrant, and radiant with my glory. I know you've made mistakes. There are decisions you wish you could undo, paths that led you to dead ends. But, my child, I do not rewrite your story with the black ink of condemnation. I rewrite it with the blood of my Sona, brand new beginning. Not based on merit, but on unwavering love. Do not let the voices of your past hold you back any longer. Do not define yourself by rejection, failure, or the negative whispers that once silenced you. I have silenced them all. I have sealed your destiny with a mark no one can erase. And that mark declares one eternal truth. You are mine. Not temporarily, not conditionally, but forever. Do you know this? In the time that has passed, I have deliberately slowed certain things not to discourage you, but to lay a firm foundation, because what I have prepared for you is not small. It is greater than anything you've ever prayed for. It exceeds even your boldest dreams. I am awakening within you a new longing not just to survive, but to live with purpose. I am calling you out of your comfort zone, no to frighten you, but to lead you into the land of abundant life. You were not born to merely endure, but to walk in my power, to carry light into darkness, and to be a living testimony that I am real. You will begin to see this unfold not only in the grand, but also in the small, restored relationships, newfound wisdom at work, peaceful sleep at night, light where your soul once grew weary. These are the signs of a new season. This is the beginning of restoration. My beloved, prepare your heart, for I am calling you out of hiding, into the place where my light will shine through you. Do not fear if you don't feel worthy. I do not call the qualified, I equip those I call. And I have called you. Take off the cloak of shame. Remove the voice of failure. Put on the robe of praise. Stand tall, with your eyes fixed ahead. For what lies before you is far more radiant than anything you've left behind. I have not abandoned you, and I will not let you step into the future alone, my child. This letter is a confirmation that I am moving, not tomorrow, not in some distant future, but right now, I am on the move. And I want you to come with Minot as a lowly servant, but as an era child, deeply loved. Open your heart. Listen. Receive the new thing I am doing. The dawn has broken. A brand new chapter is unfolding. And you, yes, you are an irreplaceable part of this glorious plan. My beloved child, can you hear the whisper deep within your soul when you felt forgotten that your story isn't over? I know it's not easy to believe, especially when the voice of accusation still echoes in your mind like a never-ending verdict. But today, I want you to know one unshakable truth. Your case is closed, not because of your merit, but because my eternal mercy has spoken the final word. For far too long, you've let the tongue of the accuser dictate the rhythm of your heart. You've lived as though you were still on trial, still burdened by past failures, flawed decision, and stains that felt permanent. But, my child, I do not sit on the throne to record your sins. I sit to intercede for you, to declare that it is all forgiven, every debt paid. I see you not through the lens of your past, but through the innocent blood of my son who died in your place. Do you remember the woman caught in adultery? Dragged into the midst of an angry crowd, they came with stones, with laws, with accusations that seemed indisputable. But I, in the form of Jesus, did not condemn her. I knelt to the ground and wrote silence into the noise. I saw not only her sin, but the hearts of her accusers. And I said, "Let the one without sin cast the first stone." One by one, the stones fell not, just physical weapons, but the collapse of condemnation's power in the face of grace. You too have stood trembling in the court of public opinion, of conscience, and even within your distorted self-image of unworthiness. But I say to you, just as I said to her, neither do I condemn you. Go and sin no more. You are no longer the accused. You are the pardoned, the redeemed, the one I lift to stand again. Lift your head, for in my eyes, you are not a lost sinner, but a returning child. My child, the enemy will relentlessly try to resurrect the pages I've already burned. He will remind you of every failure, every stumble, every scar, but every charge has been stamped void with my seal. Do not reopen the verdict I have already closed. You do not need to rejudge yourself every day. You do not have to live in endless remorse that keeps you from entering joy. Yes, there is repentance, but then comes restoration. The celebration of a father awaiting his child. Not a cold courtroom. I've seen how you avoid your own reflection, how you shy away from the gaze of others. You've lived as though you were forever marked by guilt, someone unworthy of love. But child, who dares speak against those whom I have justified, when I have forgiven? No one has the right to accuse. When I have cleansed, no one can bring back the shame. Perhaps it is you who continue to accuse yourself. Perhaps the case I already closed. You keep reopening each night silently, with eyes of condemnation and whispers of guilt. But I plead with you, stop condemning yourself. Step out of the cage wrapped in shame and regret. You are not defined by your wounds, but by the one who has healed you. I know this is hard to believe. Some live their entire lives never truly embracing forgiveness. They believe I am the Redeemer, yet they do not allow themselves to live as ones who have been redeemed. But today, I don't only want you to believe that I have forgiven you. I want you to live as one who has been acquitted, to live in true freedom, to walk in the peace of one who knows they've been restored. My child, I do not turn a blind eye to your mistakes, but I have chosen not to let them define you. I use that humility, that genuine repentance, as the foundation for holiness and power. I do not overlook. I do not excuse. I transform. And that is what I am doing with you, turning ashes into glory, turning shame into testimony for my grace. So step out. Do not live as one under judgment, but as a child declared righteous. When you feel inadequate, remember the final verdict does not rest in your hands, nor in the hands of your accuser, but in Manetha, one who died and rose again for you. My beloved child, there are moments in your life when you think I am silent. You wonder why your prayers remain unanswered, why your hopes have yet to come to pass. But today, I want you to know this: even when you are unaware, I am still working on your behalf. Not a moment passes where my love ceases to move. When you are weary and slip into sleep, I am still at work in the shadows, breaking chains you don't even know you carry. While your mind rests, I have gone before you into the unseen realms, where the enemy lays traps to destroy the good I've placed in your life. I have dispatched angels not to shake the heavens with loud display, but to quietly remove invisible barriers, things your human eyes cannot perceive. Each morning that you wake is a sign that my grace has kept you through the night. Even your steady breathing unnoticed by you is a whisper that I have never left your side. You often think I only act when you pray out loud, when you cry out, or when you step into the place of intercession. But no, beloved, I am the one who never sleeps. When you are exhausted from spiritual warfare, I fight on your behalf. When you are silent, unsure of what to say, I speak in your defense in the courts of heaven. When you lose your way, I rearrange the map, bend the straight lines, and open paths only I can see the end of. You do not need constant awareness to prove that I am at work. Like a father who clears the road for his young child, I have removed dangers you never knew existed. There are calls I never let you answer, doors you begged me to open, but I closed not because I didn't hear, but because I was protecting you from dark places you did not yet understand. If I showed you all I've withheld out of love, your soul would tremble to know how much you've been spared. My dear one, some wounds you do not carry today are because I healed you quietly before you even knew you needed healing. I have lifted generational burdens from your heart, untangled, nameless spiritual bindings, and silenced voices that rejected you since childhood. You were unaware of them, but I saw and I shattered each one by my power. While you slept, I defeated curses, drew out the venom of ancestral wounds, and clothed you in a fresh garment of grace. Do you remember how last night you let everything go and only a sigh remained in that moment? I stepped in and did what no one else could do. You didn't see Mabud, I saw you. You didn't hear Mabud, I moved. And what I am doing is not just helping you make it through tomorrow, I am shaping you for a whole new season, where you will no longer live merely to survive, but to reach beyond what you've ever known. Do you know, in the heavens, every verdict against you has been torn up not by your best defenses, but by the blood of my Son. While you thought you were being delayed, I was aligning your timeline with heavenly precision, even your forgotten dreams. The goals you stopped mentioning, I have kept them in my treasure house and am now arranging every detail so that each one will be fulfilled in perfect time. My child, let your heart rest, not rest by doing nothing, but rest in the firm assurance that I am working. Learn to be still and know I am God. When everything seems motionless, know that angels are moving, Walls are shifting, and foundations are being laid for the great thing I will reveal through your life. Do not grow impatient. Do not doubt. Do not fear when you see no visible signs. Sometimes, I intentionally allow you to see nothing so that you may learn to trust me without needing evidence. For true love does not require constant feelings to know it is real. I love you unceasingly, unshakably, not dependent on your emotions. And I am still working not because you are perfect, but because I am faithful to my word. Live as one who is deeply loved even without daily proof. Wake each morning as someone who knows that last night her father watched over the house, wiped away unseen tears, and sowed seeds into the soil of her soul for a harvest to come. I am the one who knows you better than you know yourself. I am the one who works while you are unaware, and I have never, not even for a moment, stopped moving on your behalf. My beloved child, sit still in my presence. For what I am about to speak to you is not merely a temporary encouragement, but a revelation for the time you are living in. My child, you are not simply passing through a season, you are being swept into a divine shift, a sacred transition in which all of heaven is aligning for the fulfillment of your destiny. This is not a random sequence of events, but a heavenly rearrangement planned before your birth. You felt something different in your spirit, haven't you? At times, everything around you feels familiar, yet no longer fits. The old paths, the thought patterns you once knew, they now feel like garments too tight to wear. That's not a sign of instability, it's a sign of spiritual transition. I am lifting you from the temporary ground to bring you into a place where my presence is fuller, where my promises are waiting to be fulfilled. The change you're going through is not by chance. My child, I stirred the waters not to drown you, but to move you from the harbor where your faith became too comfortable, forgetting that there's still an ocean ahead. Do not resist the current, for it is I who is carrying you. The breaking of the old is the evidence of the new work I am beginning. You will not understand it all, and that is okay. For if I explained everything, you wouldn't need faith. But faith is the bridge between uncertain present and the glorious future I have prepared for you. You are now in the hallway of transition, where the old door has closed, but the new one has not yet fully opened. And in this in-between place, your soul is being reshaped, your destiny recalibrated to the rhythm of heaven. You may feel as though everything is being turned upside down, relationships shifting, work no longer the same, emotions rising and falling unpredictably. But do not hastily label this as chaos. In my eyes, it is sanctification in motion. I am separating you from what has fulfilled its purpose, in order to prepare you for something new, something greater, something more enduring. Not everything that ends is a loss. Some endings are closures of chapters I never intended for you to live in forever. I have rewritten the course of your life not with ink from human pens, but with the finger of divine intention. Those who once journeyed with you may now be stepping away, not because they were wrong, but because their role in your journey is complete. You are not being abandoned. You are being released. Doors that once opened easily may now resist, not because I am punishing you, but because they no longer align with my vision for you. Beloved, in this divine rearrangement, let me be your center. Let your faith cling to my word, not to the circumstances around you. If you try to hold on to what is past, you will grow weary. But if you release it in obedience, you will find my arms lifting you to heights you never dared to dream of. For I am not merely changing your surroundings, I am redefining who you are, into the image of the glory I have predestined. You may not understand today why I am moving so swiftly. You may feel as if you've been uprooted from every familiar anchor. But my child, Every great spiritual migration begins with disorientation. Even Abraham did not know where he was going when I called him out from his father's land. Yet he walked, and, from that faith, a nation was born. I am doing the same with you, not to cause a temporary shift, but to establish a spiritual lineage, a sacred inheritance that will impact not only your life, but generations after you. Do not measure what I am doing by how it feels. See it with your spirit. You are in the midst of a holy reconstruction, where each brick is being placed precisely by my wise hand. Trust me. Do not be confused when you can't yet see the full picture. A building never looks like a cathedral when the foundation is being laid, but eth divine architectum, constructing something whole, something beautiful, something unshakable through every season. And you, my child, are at the very heart of it. So stand firm. Stay faithful. Fix your eyes on Mano, on the things that are shifting. For every movement taking place is fully within my sovereign control. I have not led you into foreign ground to abandon you. I have brought you into a new land of blessing, where the old has passed away, and all things are being made new, not just in your circumstances, but in your soul, your mind, and your very identity. My beloved child, I have seen your silent tears not once, but many times, in those moments when you felt no one understood, no one cared, not even aware of how hard you were fighting to stay upright. I knew. I was there, beside you, not as a silent spectator, but as a father gathering every tear, sowing them into the soil of your soul as sacred seeds. There have been seasons where you sowed much, not in money, not in outward accomplishments, but in the deepest places of your heart, prayers whispered in solitude, sacrifices made in silence, forgiveness given when no one noticed, faithfulness kept when no one applauded. You thought those things were forgotten, lost to the void. But I say to you today, they were never in vain. They are sacred seeds, quietly sprouting beneath the surface. Those who sow in tears will reap with shouts of joy. He who goes out weeping, carrying seed to sow, will surely return with songs of joy, bringing his sheaves with him. Salma Sarim Vishesh, Chamesh, Shesh. This word was not only for my people of old, it is my word spoken directly over your life today. What you have given me from your whole heart, I have been watering in silence, and a surprising harvest is nearer than you think. You often believe that in order for the seed to grow, you must see sprouts immediately. But true life begins in darkness, where roots reach deep before the stem reaches up. Not every silence is a delay, and not every delay is a denial. In the silence, I am working more than you realize. I am nurturing the seed you've sown with my breath, with my timing, with my unchanging faithfulness. Beloved, it is in your tears that your faith has been refined. No one saw the pain you carried, but from that pain, you planted your deepest trust, not a faith that rests on instant results, but one anchored in the knowledge that I am faithful, even if the season is slow to arrive. And now, the field you thought was barren is trembling. The cracked soil is breaking open from within, because the life I planted is breaking forth. You may have forgotten the prayers you whispered in exhaustion. You may no longer remember the times you chose mercy over retaliation. But I have not forgotten. To me, every small act done in my name is a seed of eternal life. I have never forgotten you, and I have never neglected what you've entrusted to me. Now, the fruit is beginning to appear, not from your striving, but from my faithfulness. You will witness this wonder. The very places that once brought disappointment will become places of harvest. Relationships thought dead will be revived with new colors. Promises you tucked away in forgotten drawers will be brought out again, blooming like flowers after rain. The season of weeping will now become the season of dancing. Stop looking down at the soil, look up, for heaven is preparing to pour out rain. The early rains of grace are about to descend on the field of faith you've cultivated through steadfastness. There will be those who do not understand the process you've endured. They will marvel at the fruit rising from your life, unaware of the tears, the surrender, the trust in darkness that brought it forth. But I have seen it all, and I will make it a living testimony, not just to bless you, but to strengthen others who, like you, are sowing in tears. Beloved, I have never asked you to sow anything I would not multiply in return. If you forgave while in pain, I will bring full healing. If you obeyed without reward, I will open doors no one can shut. If you believed in me through the darkest nights, I will cause the sun of righteousness to rise upon you, warming every hidden place once closed by grief. The harvest is coming not by the clock of man, but by the calendar of heaven, and it will come suddenly, powerfully, irresistibly. Prepare your storehouses not to stock grain, but to gather the evidence of my faithfulness. For what I am doing will not merely be enough, it will overflow, abound, and pour into the lives of those around you. And remember this, not a single tear of yours has been wasted. I have collected them, one by one, and they have fallen like the first rains upon the field of your destiny. Do not lose heart. Do not mistake silence for absence. For in the darkness, I am preparing a life beyond your imagination. And when the time comes, all will know it is I, the Lord your God, who has done this. My beloved child, there are battles no one sees. They do not clash like swords on a battlefield, nor do they leave wounds upon your body. Yet they carve deep, unseen lacerations into your soul wounds that heal slowly. I know the long nights you've endured, misunderstood and alone. I see the days you wear a smile while inside you feel weary, hollow, and quietly ask, why do I feel like I'm fighting alone? But today, I tell you, your fight is not in vain. I am using these very battles to dismantle something you didn't even realize you were clinging to: self-reliance and hidden pride. I love you too much to let you continue under the illusion that you can manage everything on your own. It's not because I want to weaken you, but because I want to establish you firmly rooted in me, not in yourself. The silent waves within your mind, the dark corners of emotion you fear to touch, I see all of it. And I am moving, not to hurt you, but to rescue you from what silently pulls you away from me. My child, there are parts of you that only the battle can bring into the light. Without pressure, you would never realize what you're leaning on. If everything were always easy, you would never discover where your trust truly lies. The battle is a test of love and hope, my love for you. For that never changes but your love and dependence upon me. Sometimes I allow disruption not to withdraw, but so you might see where the true foundation lies. When you feel like everything is out of control, that's the moment I'm removing the illusion that you ever had control. When you come to the end of yourself and no longer know what to do, that is when I gently whisper, now you are finally in the place where I can begin my work. Oh, lately, you may have felt winded, lacking the fire you once had, even doubting the very calling you once embraced with confidence. Do not be afraid. Beloved, this is not a sign that you are lost, but evidence that I am shaping you deeper still. Not all loss is rejection. Some of it is my loving intervention uprooting what does not belong to me so that the true tree of life might grow in its place. There are places in your heart that success could never reach, but sorrow can. I use adversity like a skilled chisel, tapping gently on areas you once thought secure, only for you to discover that place wasn't built on the rock, it was sand. I do this not to condemn, but to rebuild you upon something firm, earth foundation of humility and total dependence on me. Did you know? Those I used mightily: Moses, David, Pete Reach stumbled through pride and self-effort, and it was from their bitter failures that they learned tenderness, surrender, the kind of brokenness necessary to become vessels of my power. Moses once acted in fury and killed, but after 40 years in the wilderness, he became the meekest man on earth. David once grew arrogant, but after being betrayed by his own son, he penned psalms soaked in tear sand. I called him a man after my own heart. You, too, are walking this same path, becoming softer, stronger, more like me. My child, do not be ashamed of your weakness. It is in your weakness that I can be strong. True strength does not come from never growing tired, but from learning to fall into my arms every time you feel you cannot go on. When you release your grip on control, when you admit you need me, with every breath, that is when my power is most fully revealed in you. Let these difficult days become a school of humility. Let the inner battle become an altar, where you lay down your ego, your logic, your old pretty, and I will give you a new heart, a renewed mind, a soul that listens and surrenders. For the greatest treasure is not success, but intimate communion with me. And from that place of brokenness, I will rebuild something more beautiful. I will take the very weaknesses you once hid in shame and make them weapons for my kingdom. I will use the wounds you kept secret to bring healing to others. You will speak not with empty theory, but with quiet authority, because you will speak from the very battlefield you have walked through. My beloved, this battle will pass, but what it leaves behind will stay with you forever, not exhaustion, but depth, not bitterness, but maturity, not injury, but the scar of victory. And I will walk with you not just at the finish line, but in every step of the journey. For I am not only the God of triumph, I am the Father in the fight. My dear one, I want you to pause for a moment, not to look back in fear, but to reflect on what I have already done in your life. There were things that once made you tremble even to think about, giants that loomed before you like impenetrable fortresses. But today, I want you to know they have fallen, not by your strength, but by my power. Do you remember the heavy weight of anxiety you once carried? The sleepless nights afraid of failing, of losing, of not being enough, not being strong enough, not being holy enough? These were not just emotions, they were towering shadows stalking your fledgling faith. But child, everything you feared has bowed before the Most High. Your God not only walked with you, but went to war for you, fought for you, and won for you. Where you saw a mere shepherd boy standing barehanded before a giant, I saw a future king standing in my authority. Just as David faced Goliath with nothing but a stone and a childlike faith, so have you stood on your battlefield armed, not with worldly weapons, but with a fragile but sincere trust. And what you couldn't see was that my angel had already drawn his sword in the unseen realm, striking down the forces that raged around you. Your giant didn't always carry a sword, it sometimes came with the face of anxiety, rejection, sickness, financial pressure, personal failure. But no matter its form, when I rise, every giant must fall. They may roar, but I am the one with the final word. They may threaten, but I am your rock, your fortress unshaken, the one who gives peace in the midst of the storm. You don't have to prove you are brave. I do not ask that of you. I only ask that you stand in the awareness that I am with you. As David declared, "You come to me with sword and spear, but I come to you in the name of the Lord of hosts," 1 Samuel 17. And in that very name, every force that once terrified you has crumbled not by strategy, not by status, but by the sheer weight of my glory. Beloved, I have turned each of your fears into witnesses of my power. Every place you thought was the end, I rewrote into a beginning. The very ground where you once fell, I have made into the pulpit where you will declare my faithfulness. Those voices that mocked you, they will now watch you walk in blessing, upheld by grace that defies this world's understanding. Look around once more. The strongholds that once seemed unbreakable are now silent ruins beneath the feet of faith. You used to fear others' opinions, fear losing people, losing position, losing provision. But now, I have set you free from that fear, and in its place, I have given you peace, not born of circumstances, but born of knowing that I am the one who keeps you. I do not promise that you will never face another giant, but I do promise this: they will never overcome you. Not because you are perfect, but because I am the one who fights for you. All I ask is that you keep your heart steady, your eyes on me, and your steps faithful. I will go ahead of you, defeating even what you do not yet see, clearing battlefields before you ever arrive. You are not merely a survivor. You are a conqueror, not because you were never afraid, but because in the midst of trembling, you still held on to me. That is true faith, not the absence of fear, but the courage to move forward despite it, with eyes fixed on me. And that kind of faith, even as small as a mustard seed, has moved mountains, torn down strongholds, and brought giants in your mind to their knees. Do you see what I am doing? The very things that once terrified you will become a song of triumph. You will tell this story, not to exalt yourself, but to declare, if God could do this for me, He can do it for anyone. Those around you will be healed by your testimony, for they will see no trace of fear in your eyes, only the fire of genuine faith. So do not regret the battles. Do not be ashamed of the trembling, for these are what shaped you into a spiritual warrior, not by human standards, but in my image. The giant has fallen. His weapons have been melted down. The curses have lost their power. And what remains is this: your inheritance. Step into the land now redeemed, and live as a rightful heir. My beloved child, it's been long enough, hasn't it? Long enough living as though you didn't belong. Long enough thinking you were an outsider, hiding from the light, from responsibility, even from my love. But today, I want you to sit still, quiet your soul, and hear my voice echo within. You are no longer a runaway. You are a rightful heir with a name, a place, and a seal placed by my own hand. You have walked through valleys where you thought you were alone. You've wandered through seasons, searching for something to fill the emptiness inside. There were moments you believed you had gone too far to return, done things beyond repair. But child, there is no road that leads farther than my love. No mistake is greater than my grace, and no past has the authority to destroy the future I have ordained for you. I remember every step you took away from home, not with anger, but with a broken heart, knowing you would be wounded. I saw you gather what you thought was freedom, only to find yourself drained not just in body, but in spirit. And one day, in the mud and hunger, you realized you once had a place with Minot as a servant, but as a true child in the Father's house. Your story echoes that of the prodigal son. You wandered far, squandered what I gave you, but in the end, you remembered me. What you didn't know was this: From the moment you left, I stood watching the horizon, waiting, hoping, never ceasing. And when I saw you from afar, I didn't wait to judge you. I ran with all the longing, all the mercy, all the joy that only a father understands when he finds his child again. You were stunned when I didn't ask where you'd been or what you'd done. You trembled, rehearsing apologies, hoping just to return as a servant. But my dear one, I never called you a servant. Though you lost your honor, I never stripped your identity. You are not returning as a beggar, you return as the heir of my house. I called for the finest robinot, an old one. I placed a ring on your finger knot for decoration. But as a mark of authority, I gave you shoes not as a slave, but as my child. From the moment you came home, everything changed. Not because you deserved it, but because the covenant between us cannot be broken. I did not build my kingdom on your perfection, but on my love for you. I did not give you an inheritance because of your strength, but because I chose you before you were formed in your mother's womb. What I have sealed, no power can unseal. You are no longer an outsider looking in. You no longer need permission to be loved. You don't have to pretend to be humble just to be accepted. You were born to belong. You were born to receive a not as someone lucky, but as someone appointed, authorized, and entrusted. You don't need to grasp for anything. Everything in my house already has a place with your name on it. Do not let the sins of yesterday become chains in your today. I have forgiven you fully. No record kept. No scoreboard. No subtle reminders. When I look at you, I see no failure. I see the blood that cleansed you, and the radiant mark of restoration upon your forehead. Your identity does not come from striving, but from receiving with trust, with repentance, with arms open wide before your Father. Voices may still whisper in your mind, "You're not worthy." But child, answer them, "I am chosen by the Father." People may recall your past as evidence to condemn you, but I have rewritten your story not with ink, but with the blood of the Lamb. The old pages are burned. A new chapter begins with you as the central figure in my glorious plan. I give back to you spiritual authority not to dominate others, but to walk in the freedom, power, and grace of one who belongs to the kingdom of heaven. You have the right to tread on serpents and scorpions. You have the right to proclaim life instead of death. You have the right to command in my name, for you are not merely forgiven, but elevated. Live like the one who is called. Speak like one with authority. Pray like someone who knows their Father hears. And walk as one who knows they are never alone, for I am with you. In you. And for you, let go of the gaze of a fugitive. Put on the eyes of one who has found home. No more hiding. No more shame. Step out and receive. I did not just bring you back, I restored you. I did not just forgive, I lifted you up. I did not just say, "You are pardoned," I declared, "You are mine." And from this day forward, do not live as though your identity is borrowed. You have a real name in the real house of an unshakable kingdom. My beloved child, there are seasons in life when you do not hear me. No whisper, no dream, no clear sign. Everything goes quiet, not just around you, but within. And you ask, "God, where are you? Do you still care?" You begin to think I've withdrawn, that my silence means rejection. But today, I want to break that lie with an eternal truth. My silence does not mean my absence. Beloved, I am the God of life. I never stop loving, and I never cease working, even when you feel nothing. I am moving deeply, steadily, intentionally. I do not need to speak to prove I am present. For I am not like man, I do not exist through sound, but through essence, and my essence is faithfulness, love, and the promise never to forsake you. Remember the seed you planted in the soil. When it lies still in darkness without light, without sound, that is precisely when life begins. No one sees it, but the miracle is already underway. Roots are going deep. The shell is starting to break. Do not mistake silence for uselessness. In the stillness, I am weaving every link, every detail, every person, every moment guiding you into the place I've prepared. Some miracles thunder like storms, but others come in a breath like when Elijah met me, not in the wind, not in the quake, not in fire, but in a gentle whisper, 1 Kings 19:11-12. And just like that, my presence sometimes comes so softly that you must pause, be still, to realize I am right here. I know you have longed for an answer. You have knocked, not just once. You have wept, pleaded, fasted, and waited. And when nothing seemed to change, doubt crept in, questioning the very promise itself. But my child, faith is not measured by how quickly a reply comes, but by the steadfastness you hold in the silence. I am measuring the depth of your heart not to test you, but to shape you into a vessel capable of holding something greater. My silence is the space where you learn to trust me for who I am, not just for what I do. It is the place where you discover that I am not merely the giver of blessings, I am the blessing. It is the sacred ground where love matures not through emotion, but through faithfulness. When you continue to pray, yet hear nothing. Continue to worship, yet feel nothing. Continue to stand, though you sense nothing, then you have become strong. My dear one, I am not playing a silent game. I do not hide my face as a punishment. I conceal myself so that you might learn how to seek. I grow quiet so that you may recognize my voice amid the noise. I step back so that you may see true faith does not require emotional highs, but unshakable endurance. Those who stand firm in the silence, these are the ones to whom I can entrust great things. If I answered you the moment you asked, you would know me as the giver. But when I do not answer, and still you choose to believe, then you know me as Father. And my child, I am your Father, a Father who never abandons his own, a Father who never slumbers, a Father who is weaving invisible threads into an eternal tapestry for your life. You are standing in the middle of a divine cycle nearing completion. I am arranging the final links, softening the hearts you cannot change, and removing barriers you cannot cross on your own. Some works require time. Some things within you must ripen. And there are heavenly battlegrounds that must be cleared before I place you at the center of the promise. I have never forgotten you. Every tear you shed, I have collected. Every prayer you whispered, I have remembered. Every act of quiet faith, I have seen. Nothing done in secret is lost. All is rising like incense before my throne, and when my appointed time comes, every promise will burst forth like holy fire beneath a clear sky. Hold fast. Keep doing what is right, even when no one sees. Keep loving, even when it is not returned. Keep serving, even without recognition. For in the darkness, you are growing, and one day, the Son of Righteousness will rise for you with healing in its wings. Malachi 4:2. My child, I am not silent because I have forgotten. I am silent because I am finishing. And when my work is done, doors will open, mountains will move, and seas will part before your eyes. Then you will no longer doubt. You will know that I have been there from beginning to end, never leaving, never forsaking, never ceasing. And when you step out from this silence, your life will thunder with the testimony, God is faithful whether I hear him or not. My beloved child, I know you have asked yourself this many times. Why me? Why does pain keep finding me? I have seen your silence while others laugh. I've watched you wrestle through sleepless nights. There are things I have allowed that you do not yet understand. There are losses that have left you without answers. But today, I want to speak clearly to you that pain is not random. It is the chisel in my hand, shaping you into a vessel of glory. My dear one, I am the potter, and you are the precious clay in my hands. Not one detail of your life is meaningless. Every fracture, every crack, every breaking moment is an opportunity for me to form you according to my eternal design. What others see as failure, I use as the foundation for a dwelling of glory. What seems like the end, I use as the beginning of something deeper, stronger, and far more beautiful. Do not fear the pain. Pain is not proof that I've withdrawn. Pain is proof that I'm touching you, touching the parts yet unformed, peeling back the layers that must be removed so the eternal core can be revealed. I do not break, but I bend. I do not destroy, but I reshape. And this process, though it brings tears, is preparing you to carry a weight of glory beyond comprehension. You may feel lost in the midst of trials, but trials are not rejection. They are the training ground of resilience. I am teaching you how to walk without wavering. I am laying a foundation in you that cannot be shaken. As gold is refined in fire, so your faith is being refined, that what remains is not a shell, but the pure essence of faithfulness. Remember my word in Scripture. Consider it pure joy. My brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance, let perseverance finish its work, so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking anything. James 1:2-4. Do you see it now? Every time you endure, you are not becoming weaker, you are becoming more complete, more ready for the greatness I've prepared. Pain is my silent hand, carving the image of glory within you. Your tears are not wasted, they are softening the hardened soil of your life, opening new paths for my presence to flow through. I know discouragement can creep in. There may be moments you want to collapse. Give, you peeven, let go of me. But it is in those moments that I hold you closer than ever. There are things I don't remove right away, not because I do not love you, but because I am using those very things to rescue you from yourself. You'll never truly know your own strength until you are pushed to your limits. And when you reach the edge, you'll find Menno at the end of the road, but right there beside you, whispering, I never left. Ose, my child, I did not promise the path would be easy, but I promised that no step you take would be wasted. Every time you rise after falling, you don't return to where you were, you go further. Every time you choose forgiveness over revenge, love over resentment, perseverance over quitting, another mark of glory is etched into your life. Don't measure your worth by ease. Measure it by the growth you gain through hardship. Those I use greatly have walked through great pain not to suffer, but to carry the true fragrance of grace. Only those who understand pain can heal others with compassion. Only those who've been broken can offer true restoration. You are not just surviving, you are being crafted. And I do not craft vessels for display. I craft them to hold. What I long to pour into you is not law, nor burden it is my very presence. You are my dwelling place, my chosen habitation, the vessel I place in the world so that my light may shine through. And when the vessel is ready, when the form is true, the mouth is open, The base is firm. I will pour into you something beyond your understanding. Not a trickle, but an overflow, spilling out in abundance. And those who see you will no longer see only one who was once wounded. They will see one who carries the glory of their Father. So do not shut your heart to pain. Let it do its sacred work. Let it shape, refine, peel, and cleanse. Then, lift your eyes, for a day is coming when every suffering you've endured will become a living testimony, and every tear you've shed will become oil on the heads of those in need of healing. For I, the faithful potter, never create anything without purpose, and you, my child, you are my masterpiece, formed by love and suffering, to carry an eternal glory. My beloved child, there is something I placed within you from the very beginning, a sacred gift, a divine ability to reflect my very nature, the power of words. You are not one who speaks merely to fill the silence, nor one who utters sounds without weight. No, I created you in my image, and I, the one who spoke the world into being, have placed in your mouth the ability to declare, to build, and to transform circumstances through your speech. Do you remember? When I created the world, I did not use my hands, but my voice. I said, "Let there be light," and there was light. Genesis 1-3. Every star, every ocean, every living creature came into existence by my word. And now, I say to you, your mouth, when aligned with me, carries the same creative authority, not by your own strength, but by my Spirit working through you. You are not one who speaks aimlessly. Your words carry weight in heaven. When you open your mouth, heaven listens. When you declare in accordance with my will, the powers of darkness tremble, situations shift, and doors begin to open. For you are my child, anointed not only to live righteously, but to speak with spiritual authority. Your mouth is not only for conversation, it is for releasing the decrees of the kingdom. You once thought your words were small, insignificant, but my dear one, the words that flow from the mouth of the righteous are like fiery arrows, piercing the heart of darkness, breaking chains wide open. You've been given a key, and that key is the right proclamation. When you say, "Let there be light," in the midst of darkness, light will come. When you say, "Peace," in the storm, the winds will quiet. When you say, "Live," to what is dying, life will arise. I have spoken through prophets, through my servants, and now I desire to speak through you, not just from pulpits, but in the secret place, not only through scripted texts, but in the blazing intercession that rises from your heart. I long to use your tongue to establish my will on earth as it is in heaven. For when you speak in alignment with me, your words become a weapon hell cannot withstand. But child, what is in the heart will come out of the mouth. Therefore, let your heart be filled with my word, with life, with faith. Do not let your mouth become a channel for fear, resentment, or doubt. The enemy cannot steal my promise from you, but he constantly seeks to convince you to use your own words to undo what you're believing for. So I urge you, guard your lips, for from them flows life or death. When you bless, heaven opens. When you give thanks, chains fall. When you pray in faith, mountains move. And when you prophesy, that is, when you speak forth my living word from within your heart, even before you see it, creation begins to align with my divine order. Don't be afraid if what you declare contradicts what you see. That is the essence of true faith. Like Abraham, who called those things which do not exist as though they did. Romans 4:17. Do you know this? Every prayer you utter is not lost, it is kept like fragrant incense in golden bowls before my throne. Revelation 5-8. And at the appointed time, they shall be poured out, and what you have proclaimed shall become visible reality. I have not called you to silence. I have called you to speak with wisdom, with love, and with authority from heaven. Don't wait for everything to be in order before you speak what is right. It is precisely when things are chaotic that you must open your mouth all the more. Declare life over your children. Call restoration into your marriage. Speak abundance into lack. Declare freedom where bondage remains. I have given you this authority not someday, but now. Your mouth is a conduit of miracles. Your tongue is my hand reaching into the earth. I want to speak through you so the sick may be healed, the hopeless may find hope, and dry lands may bloom again. Never underestimate the power of a whispered word in a quiet room, for all of heaven and earth may be bending low to hear a single, faith-filled word from your lips. Come to me each morning and say, Lord, set fire in my mouth today, and I will. I will anoint your words not to merely speak what is pleasing, but to speak what is right, in the right time, to the right hearts. And every word you release will not return void, but will accomplish the purpose for which I send it. So, my dear child, speak as one who is awakened. Declare as one who has been authorized. Speak forth as one who carries the inheritance. Pray as one who knows they hold the key to open the heavens. For within your words, when filled with my word and led by my spirit, miracles begin. My precious one, as you read these words, I know your heart is beginning to settle, like a still lake after a storm, like a heartbeat slowing after long weeping. I know you are listening now, not just with ears, but with your soul. This is not just a letter, it is my breath placed into your hands. It is the lifeblood I am infusing into your heart, to remind you, no matter how many seasons have passed, no matter how many days you felt lost, I am still here, and I am still myself. I write not to force you to change. I write so you will remember. Being loved is not a reward, for perfection it is your identity. Freely given. I do not measure you by performance. I do not wait for you to finish before I open my arms. I have always had my arms open, even when you hadn't yet turned around. My child, the days ahead may not be easy, but this I promise. There will not be a single step you take without me beside you. Not a single tear you shed that I will not hold. Not a single pain you endure that I will not transform into glory. Remember, your wounds will become the very places where my light shines through the brightest. So do not look back anymore. The shadows behind you have faded. The old doors are shut. The former story has ended, and I, with a love that is not measured by time, am calling you into a new chapter. The chapter of one who is chosen, restored, and entrusted. You will speak, and heaven will hear. You will intercede, and the earth will tremble. You will walk not with hesitation, but with confidence in the one who has called you my child, not just to survive, but to live boldly, fully, within your eternal purpose. Breathe. Lift your head. Believe, I do not only go before you, but I walk within you, through you, and for you. Everything you need, new strength, peace, vision I have already prepared. Only one thing is needed from you. Believe that you are loved, and live as one who believes it is true. I am still whispering your name, and I always will, with an unchanging love. I who was, and is, and will always be your Father. Thank you for listening to this message. Know this, you are not just an audience. You are chosen to live daily in the presence of God's Word. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss any sacred message. Amen.